Hi fellas, welcome to Alan Buell channel. We have automotive update here. Customer commissioned shade of green joins Porsche's color palette. An additional shade of green will soon join Porsche's color palette. Available on new examples of the 911, the 718, and the Taycan, Essmann Green was originally a paint to sample color commissioned by an enthusiast, and the firm liked it enough to offer it to all of its customers. Essmann managing director Michael Essmann first asked Porsche to paint a car in the same color as the logo of his family's business in 1992. The first Porsche model finished in what's now called Essmann Green was a 964 Generation 911 Carrera 3 rupees and 60 paise. There have been several others since, including a 997 Generation 911 GT3 rupees and a 992 Generation 911 GT3 Touring. Porsche notes that adding a new color to the palette is more labor-intensive than many assume. The recipe for Essmann Green calls for mixing over 100 ingredients. Interestingly, the company had to develop a new recipe to paint Essmann's current Generation 911. Prior to his latest order, the color was last used on a 997 Generation model, which was built before Porsche updated its paint shop. The recipe is now set in stone. It's part of the Paint to Sample Plus selection, and this is the first time that a customer-commissioned color ends up being offered to other buyers. Assigned color code 24C, Essmann Green will be available starting in March 2023. Pricing hasn't been announced yet. The first Porsche model finished in what's now called Essmann Green was a 964 Generation 911 Carrera 3 rupees and 60 paise. There have been several others since, including a 997 Generation 911 GT3 rupees and a 992 Generation 911 GT3 Touring. Porsche notes that adding a new color to the palette is more labor-intensive than many assume. The recipe for Essmann Green calls for mixing over 100 ingredients. Interestingly, the company had to develop a new recipe to paint Essmann's current Generation 911. Prior to his latest order, the color was last used on a 997 Generation model, which was built before Porsche updated its paint shop. The recipe is now set in stone. It's part of the Paint to Sample Plus selection, and this is the first time that a customer-commissioned color ends up being offered to other buyers. Essmann managing director Michael Essmann first asked Porsche to paint a car in the same color as the logo of his family's business in 1992. The first Porsche model finished in what's now called Essmann Green was a 964 Generation 911 Carrera 3 rupees and 60 paise. There have been several others since, including a 997 Generation 911 GT3 rupees and a 992 Generation 911 GT3 Touring. Porsche notes that adding a new color to the palette is more labor-intensive than many assume. The recipe for Essmann Green calls for mixing over 100 ingredients. The company had to develop a new recipe to paint Essmann's current Generation 911. Prior to his latest order, the color was last used on a 997 Generation model, which was built before Porsche updated its paint shop. The recipe is now set in stone. It's part of the Paint to Sample Plus selection, and this is the first time that a customer-commissioned color ends up being offered to other buyers. That is automotive update today. What's your opinion, fellas? Please don't forget to write down in the comment section and hit the subscribe button.